Okay, so this is my blood transfusion pass off. We're just gonna check the orders and make sure that we have the right order. He has his compatibility cross-match stuff done. He is type A positive. Antibody screen is negative. He does have the two, we're gonna double check that he has the two large bore peripheral IVs. And then I'm gonna make sure that he's got his consent signed. Everything looks good there. Okay, all right. Hi Darius, my name's Zoe, I'm gonna be your nurse today. We're just gonna be doing this blood transfusion for you, so I'm just coming to get your vital signs and explain the procedure to you and answer any questions that you have. So this blood transfusion is gonna last over about 4 hours, and then if there are any adverse reactions that you have, we'd want to, how about that? I don't know, I grabbed that for a minute. We'd want to know if you have any like itching, if you have a rash, if you are flushing, if you feel like you have a fever, or if you're having any chills, anything like that. And so we can stop the procedure so it doesn't get any worse for you. And then I'm just gonna take a baseline set of vitals, and then we would also wanna do them 15 minutes after the transfusion, and then an hour after, and all that. So I'm just gonna listen to your lung sounds to make sure that you don't have any fluid overload, because if we do give you the transfusion and you do have fluid overload, it can cause other adverse reactions. Okay, just take a couple deep breaths in. Okay, I'm gonna have you sit up. We're just gonna listen to 6 places on the back as well. Okay. Alright, so as long as we're clear, we don't have any concerns there. And then I'm just gonna assess this IV site, make sure, oh, I never did come in and check that I had the right patient, but I would come in and have him tell me his name and date of birth before I even started any of this. He does have the IV, and then we're just gonna check that it is patent. There's no swelling or redness at the site, so everything looks good there as well. So I'm just gonna scrub this. Flush to make sure that it is patent. Perfect. And then I'm just gonna leave this on here so I don't have to scrub it again when we get his tubing all hooked up. And then I'll grab this tubing for us and the normal saline. This is just used to prime the line, and then if the doctor had ordered for it to run before he had the transfusion, then we would do that. I'm just gonna clamp all of my lines. And we're just gonna take that off and make sure not to touch it on anything so it stays sterile. Just gonna spike this bag. Oh shoot. That's great. Make sure that it stays on and doesn't spray everywhere. we're just gonna prime the line and make sure that the saline covers over this filter right here. I'm just gonna let this run down in. We're gonna fill this up so that it's covering this filter. Perfect. I'm gonna let it run down through here so that it's all the way primed. Alright, I'm just gonna hook this up to the patient so I have it ready when I come in with his blood. Let's hook this up. And then we would let it run if it was in the orders, but for now I'm just gonna clamp everything off. That way we don't have to worry about that for now. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over here to my blood bank and grab our blood. And then we would verify this with the people at the blood bank and make sure that we have the right thing. And then we're gonna come over here and have another nurse with our orders. I'm gonna read these off to her and she'll read them back to me. Okay. So I have Darius Hassan.
Darius Hassan.
His birthday is 8/10/2025.
8/10/2025.
And his medical number is 982541367.
982541367.
His blood type is A positive.
A positive.
And the donor is O negative.
O negative.
Let's see, this is packed red blood cells.
Packed red blood cells.
And then we need to double check this one right here as well. So W0430
17
0298 97. Okay. And then we would just assess the blood, make sure that there's no like clotting or cloudiness, anything like that, and I just have her look at it with me as well. And then we're good, and I'd take this to my patient and get everything hooked up. I'm just gonna set that right there. Okay. Pull that out. Spike this bag. Make sure that everything's still clamped before we set it up, or it's gonna drip down in there. Okay. I'm just gonna unclamp this one and let it start dripping down in. Make sure that before I would start letting this one in, I would clamp this one to make sure that it's not gonna go into the other one. Oh, let's see. Let's see if it wants to start dripping in here. There we go. Oh, that's why. Okay. So it's dripping down into here. I'm watching it come down in. And then we'd watch it come down in through the line and then wait until it gets right here to the patient. And then that would be when the blood transfusion has officially started. Okay. So it hit our patient at 11:07. And then I would slow this down back to the 2 milliliters, and then for the first 15 minutes, and then we would come back in after 15 minutes and do his vital signs again, and then assess for those adverse effects.
and then we would let it transfuse more so that it is transfusing within that 4-hour range. And then if we came in and he was having adverse reactions or he reported them to us, we would stop everything, unhook everything, call the doctor, and then hook up a normal saline and try to dilute that blood that's been in there. And then we would pack everything up and take it back to the blood bank. And so none of that's happened this time, and we're just gonna let that transfuse for him. And once that is done, we're gonna come in and once the blood is done, I'll just clamp that one off, and then you would start the normal saline and let that go through, and then until this line and that tube right there is completely clear, so that we know that the patient has received all of the blood. And then we would just unhook all of this, clamp this off, and then take this off. And then pack this all up in our red bag. And then dispose of that wherever the facility has you dispose of it. And then we would come back and we would take our patient's vital signs an hour after the transfusion, and then 2 hours after. I'm just gonna flush this. And then we would educate him on the adverse reactions that would happen, because they can happen up to 2 hours afterwards or 24 hours afterwards. So we want him to watch for any itching, any of the swelling, hives, fever, chills, anything like that, and then report back to us, and we just monitor his vital signs, monitor him, and then document all of this, and yeah, make sure we have everything. Good.